Hey, welcome back to Mondays with Maxwell. I'm in studio with John today, and it's a privilege to be in the studio with you, John.
It's great to have you.
On behalf of thousands, John, that have been watching these Mondays with Maxwell, the Best Advice series, thank you. You don't get to see a lot of the comments that you share, those of you that get on Facebook Live or on YouTube and you make your comments or you pass along. John doesn't always get to see those, but I can assure you as we read through those, John, thank you for pouring into us and literally tens of thousands of people every single week.
That's fun.
You've been listening to these Monday with Maxwells, and what you've been noticing is John Maxwell loves adding value to people, we can say yes to that, who will multiply value to others. And so each and every week we have brought you one of John's partners, a John Maxwell team member that is committed to multiplying value to others. And each and every week, we give you, the viewer, a chance to join that team of multipliers, women and men around the world that truly want to take the value that John gives us and multiply it to others. And we're thankful for those of you that have responded. Well, John and I were talking before set today, and he said, Mark, I want to do something a little more unique, maybe something a little bit more sticky for those that have been watching week in and week out. You, me, that really do want to join John Maxwell's team. Now, I've told you multiple times, mondayswithmaxwell.com. Mondayswithmaxwell.com is how you can get more information about our team. But we're going to up the ante today. We're going to lengthen the carrot, and we're going to challenge you to join this team of women and men that truly want to change the world and partner with John Maxwell to multiply value to others. And so for those of you that are watching today live in this Monday session, you can go to Mondays with Maxwell now. When you fill out the more information form, we're going to send you a copy of John's book, one of his most favorite books, How Successful People Think. You've been listening to successful people for several Mondays now. We want to equip you on how to think successfully with John's book, with John's book, How Successful People Think. It's free. It's for you if you will fill out the information card there that says, I want more information, John, of joining your team. We're going to send those of you in the United States a free copy of this book. Now, some of you are watching and say, whoa, wait. Do you love us outside the United States? And the answer is yes. We're not going to be able to send you a physical copy of the book, but what we will do is we're going to send you a digital copy of John teaching for 30 minutes on a segment of how successful people think. We're going to drop that right into your e-box. So, whether you're outside the United States, whether you're inside the United States, respond in the next 24 hours by going to mondayswithmaxwell.com, and you too can join John's team of multipliers. Those of you in the United States, in 24 hours, we'll send you the book. Those of you outside, we will send you a digital link to a great teaching from John. Now, what about those of you listening on Tuesday or Wednesday because you just couldn't happen? It just couldn't make Monday happen live. We've got your back too. If you will go to mondayswithmaxwell.com, you will fill out the form. We will drop something to you that will add value to you as well. So, John, I have to tell you again, on behalf of so many, You truly add values to us by doing this Mondays with Maxwell. I'm going to get out of the way because I've got to go deal with a lot of people that's already going to mondayswithmaxwell.com, and we got to send some books out. We got to send some digital products. But thank you. I look forward to today's teaching.
Oh, thank you, Mark. And that's very exciting. So all they have to do is register.
That's exactly right. Get more information at mondayswithmaxwell.com.
And then you get my book.
That's exactly right.
And that's what, I don't know if you know this, but I've had several books that are million sellers. But that is the first book that wasn't a leadership book.
Yeah.
That became a million seller. And so I talk about 11 ways that successful people think that other people don't think. So if you just register, you get the book. In fact, that sounds so good and easy. I think I'm going to register. Maybe.
Teach first.
Okay, let's talk about best advice. And I'm very excited because I'm going to share with you my best advice today. And this one is one I've been really wanting to teach, and I haven't just had the chance, but here we go. I got the chance today, so let's rock and roll. And my best advice for you today is that preparation and reflection maximize every experience. If you said, John, when I'm in an experience, I want to maximize it, I would say the preparation on the front end and the reflection on the back end is going to take that experience to a whole new level. And in fact, I call these the bookends of success. So let me tell you a story and where I really began to understand this best advice that I'm sharing with you now. Several years ago, I had an opportunity to go see John Wooden, and I figured that it may be my only opportunity ever to sit at this great teacher's feet and have him teach me and mentor me. And in fact, it was set up that on a Monday morning, we would go to his favorite place to have breakfast, and he'd give me about an hour and a half. We'd have breakfast together, and I could ask him a question or two, and he could help me. And so I look forward to that, but I want you to see the big picture here. And the big picture was I wanted to have more than a mentoring hour and a half with him at his favorite breakfast place. I wanted to have a mentoring relationship with him. And I began to ask myself the question, how do I set this up? How do I get out of the people pile? How do I set myself apart from others who have asked him questions and then it was over? I mean, how do I become unforgettable so that I can have a mentoring relationship with him? And so I did several things. If you know anything about John Wooden, you know that he had what he called the Pyramid of Success. And so I took his Pyramid of Success and I memorized it. And you say, what do you mean you memorized it? I memorized the whole pyramid. And and so that if he would ask me anything about that success pyramid, that I could let him know that I really knew it, and not only knew it, but I practiced it really well. And then I read all of his books. I think at that time he had 5, maybe 6 max books out. But I read every one of his books, and I marked every one of his books, and I took out of those books questions I wanted to ask him, and I had 5 pages of legal pages of questions. So I flew out to LA, we went out to breakfast, we sat down, we had a wonderful conversation, probably 10 minutes of small talk. And to be honest with you, I know only I have an hour and a half, and I'm getting a little antsy because I got all these questions I want to ask him, and I want to make the time count. Perhaps he could tell I was antsy. So he finally looked at me and he said, John, he said, do you have any questions for me? I said, Coach, I sure do. And I reached in my briefcase, and on the breakfast table there, I put my legal pad down, and immediately he looked over and he saw that the whole page was filled with questions, and he said, oh my, he said, you have a lot of questions, don't you? And I said, well, yeah, I've got a lot of questions. He said, wow, is that page full? I said, well, yes. I said, but Coach, I said, that's just the first page. He said, well, what do you mean? And I pulled over the next page, and he saw it was full of questions, and the next page, and full of questions, next page, full of questions, next page. And I'll never forget the look on his face. He just looked at me, and I could tell he couldn't believe that I had that many questions. In fact, he said, John, Nobody's ever brought that many questions to me. Now, what am I doing again? I'm talking about how to maximize an experience, preparation on the front end, reflection on the back end. I'm trying to get out of the pile. And so I know already, I've started to set myself apart with the questions. He said, well, we got to get started. You have a lot of questions. And so I started asking my questions. My hour and a half was up. He said, John, do you have any more time? I said, well, sure. He said, well, let's go over to my house. So we went over to his condo and we sat down. And for the next several hours, I asked him more questions. And at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, we finished the first page. And he smiles. He said, well, he said, that was amazing. He said, but we've got 4 pages to go. He said, would you mind coming back again? And I'd like to answer some more of your questions. I said, oh, would I mind? I mean, hey, this guy, touchdown. Here I am. Whoa, this man who I so desperately wanted to learn from gave me more than an hour. 1 hour turned into 1 day, and then all of a sudden I realized at the end of that day, 1 day turned into literally many years. It was John Wooden who said, when opportunity comes, it's too late to prepare. So we're talking about preparation. You see, if we prepare on the front end an experience, if we really get ready for it, we can maximize it, just like I'll talk in a few minutes about if we reflect on the back end, we can maximize it. Get the picture. Going in, I maximize it by my preparation. Coming out, I maximize it by my reflection. So when I'm talking about preparing, what do I mean? Well, let me give you really quickly a couple thoughts. Prepare continually. You see, there are 2 types of people in this world. There are the types of people that say, I will wait for an opportunity, and when that opportunity comes, I'm going to get with it. I'm going to prepare. And the other person says, you know what, I'm going to get ready just in case the opportunity comes. I learned that from John Wooden, but I learned that also from a story I read about Bill Bradley. Bill Bradley was a professional basketball player, played for the New York Knicks, but he was a great college player, and he was an amazing man. In fact, you probably know his name. Bill Bradley became a senator, and at one time even considered running for president. So he was very successful. But it was when he was learning to play basketball as a kid, and he showed really good talent, that he was going to be a real good player, that his father gave him this advice. And here's what his father said to him. He said, now, son, when you're not practicing, someone else is. And when you meet that person, he's going to beat you. What Bill Bradley's father was saying to him that day was, somebody is out there preparing to be a great basketball player. And when you aren't, trust me, when you meet that person that's preparing and practicing when you're not, he's going to beat you. And you know, Joe Frazier, that great heavyweight champion, what did he say? He said, champions do not become champions in the ring. He said they merely get recognized as champions in the ring. He said their becoming champions happens in their daily routine. In other words, he used to say, in the darkness of the hour when they're training is when they really become champions. And what are we learning here? We're learning about preparation, and we're learning about the fact that in our strength zone, in the things that we're good, we need to constantly be practicing. We need to constantly be preparing. That's why when people talk to me about writing, I share with them, every day I write. And what do you mean every day you write? Well, what I mean is every day I write. And when people say, well, I want to be a writer, what do you suggest? I always suggest the obvious. Start writing. If you want to be a writer, start writing. If you want to be a really good writer, stay writing. This is all about preparation. And the preparation is, it must be continual. We want to continually prepare. Now, you got that. That makes sense. I know it does. But we not only want to prepare continually, to really maximize every experience, we want to prepare visually. We want to set ourselves up visually for success. And what I'm saying there is, my expectation determines my preparation. I don't know if you've ever had this experience. You probably have, but I can think back at some of my earlier days when I was in school, And I can think a lot of times when I was going to take a test in a class that I wasn't really good in, and I didn't have a heavy expectation of doing well in the class, that really messed with my preparation. It's almost like the level of my expectation determines the level of my preparation. And I'm asking you this question: when you see yourself visually, do you put success in your picture? So when I speak, when I do a lesson like I'm doing right now, I expect to be at the top of my game. I expect to do good. I expect to communicate well with you. And there's something about that expectation I have that says now what you have to do is you have to back it up with your preparation. So there's a visualness that I don't want you to miss. I want you to see yourself as winning. I want you to see yourself as succeeding. I want you to see yourself as doing well. Because once I can visually see that takes care of all my preparation. I've taught people often that I get up early and write in the morning at 5:30, not because I'm so self-disciplined, but because I'm filled with anticipation. I can hardly wait to write because I think I'm going to write something that's going to help people. I can hardly wait to share my Monday with Maxwell with you today on Best Advice because I thought I'm going to give you something that's going to help you. The moment that I visually see myself adding value to you, contributing to you, make a difference in your life, then what happens? My preparation begins to come up to the level of that expectation. When I was in the 4th grade, I went to a Circleville High School basketball game. And I was in the balcony, and I was standing up against the rail of the balcony of the old Mill Street gym, and the varsity was getting ready to play, and before the game, all the lights turned off in the gym, and the spotlight went right down to the huddle of the Circleville Tigers, and the announcer began to give the names of each player that would start in that game, and that player would run out to the middle of the floor, and in that dark auditorium, that spotlight was just on that player and go out to the middle of the floor, and then the spotlight would pick up the next player, and I am enthralled. I am hanging on to the railing of the balcony, and I'm looking at these players getting announced, and there's something very, intoxicating about it. And I can remember that was the day after that game, I went home and I told my dad, I said, I'm going to be a basketball player. And my father, literally, we had a driveway, and my dad, we had a garage, so he put up a backboard, he put up a rim, got me a ball, and from the 4th grade on, I played basketball every day. Now, what was I doing? I had visually seen myself in that picture, and that visualization upped my preparation. That expectation determined the level of my preparation. In fact, I can still remember I was in the 6th grade, and our 6th grade team in the city went to the finals of all the elementary schools in town. And so we were going to play another team, and we went to the gym where I had seen the big boys and the spotlight and the announcer. And I'll never forget, I literally did this. I can remember doing this to this day. I sat on the bench right where those big boys, those high school seniors or players were. And I closed my eyes. I mean, that's how you turn the lights off in the gym, by the way. I closed my eyes, and I out loud called my name, and I ran out to the middle of the floor. I was visualizing success, which allowed me to prepare for the level of success that I really wanted to have. Now, don't miss that. To maximize an experience, there's that preparation on the front end, and you prepare continually, and you prepare visually. You also let me take a moment, you also prepare realistically. Reality is the foundation of preparation. And I remember I was going through a difficult time in one of my companies, and I was really needing to let a couple key people perhaps go, and I really didn't want to because there was a pretty deep friendship there, and we'd been together for a long time, but I knew it wasn't best for the company, that we needed to move on. They weren't probably going to have the capacity to take us where we needed to go. And so I took a week break trying to prepare myself emotionally for this, and I read in one of Jack Welch's books, The 6 Rules for Successful Leadership. And those 6 rules, I've got them here because I'm going to give them to you because I'm telling you, I lived with these rules. Here's what he said. remember, I've got to make a hard leadership decision, but I don't want to make a hard leadership decision. And here's what Jack Welch said. He said, number one, control your destiny or someone else will. All of a sudden I realized, oh my gosh, if I don't take control of the situation, they'll take control of it. He said, number two, face reality as it is, not as it was, or you wish it were. Number three, be candid with everyone. You can see all the realism in this. Number four, don't manage, lead. Number five, change before you have to. And number six, if you don't have a competitive advantage, don't compete. I'll never forget that dose of realism from this CEO of General Electric just brought me back to reality of my life. And I made the decisions that I needed to make. So on maximizing experiences on the preparation front end, just prepare continually. I mean, just continually be in an act of doing what you need to do. Prepare visually, put yourself in the picture, see yourself as successful, but prepare realistically and realize that if you don't control the situation, someone else will. That's the preparation side. Now, I've only got 3 minutes for the reflection side. But after the experience, we reflect, and reflection turns experience into insight. In other words, when I reflect on what has just happened, all of a sudden, the experience that I had becomes insightful to me. So in mentoring, I basically prepare, reflect, and then I act. So every year, at the end of the year, I do a year-end evaluation reflection, and I ask myself these questions. Now, this is all about reflection. And I'm just going to give them to you. I don't even have time to teach them, but you're getting the idea. If you want to maximize experiences, you got to prepare on the front end, and you got to reflect on the back end. And my year-end questions when I'm just kind of evaluating my year are the following. Oh, first one, what made me proud? These are my accomplishments. I reflect on those. Secondly, what did I learn? This is all about my growth. What did I learn from this last year that's going to help me be better? And number three is, what did I lead? This is all about my calling and what I'm supposed to be doing. Number four is a huge reflection question. What held me back? This is about awareness. I look at my last year and say, okay, when I didn't do as well as I could have done, what was it that held me back? This is really a helpful but very reflective question. Number five, do I still love what I do? That's all about my passion. I love number six, am I willing to pay the price again this year? You know, maybe I'm getting tired. Because you see, every year when I start off, I've got to up the price again, and that's all about commitment. Question number seven, what is most important right now? That's about my priorities. What do I need to change? That's about the challenges I have, and then what is my word for the year, which is all about focus. And I wrap up this very simple best advice teaching, which basically says that my preparation, my reflection of an experience is what maximizes that experience. Those are the bookends of success. And so I want you to try those bookends, okay? Would you do that? Just say, okay, next time I'm getting ready to have an experience, go prepare a little bit more on the front end than what you're used to. And then reflect a little longer on the back end than what you're used to. And I will promise you, my name's John, remember, I'm your friend. I'll promise you, you'll up the experience because you use the two bookends of success. And so go for it. And I'm just so grateful that you come with me on Mondays with Maxwell. Do me a favor, tell your friends about what we do on Monday. Tell them that if they want some good sound advice, just check in with us. And you know, I gave you my best advice, but I would also encourage you, you know, our dear friend Mark Cole shared with you how you could get my book and how it can maybe just add a little value to your life. So go register right now, and we'll send you the book, and we'll just find another way to add value to you. Until next Monday, thank you very much.